Hello, friends. Today I want to talk to you about the keto diet because I have now been on the keto diet for 10 days and it is amazing. It is like changing my life in big, massive ways. And if you're scared to go on the keto diet, I just want to jump on here and say that I have had no keto flu, no headaches, no stomach pain, no real discomfort, and it's just been amazing. And I would say I would give it like 5 out of 5 cardiomology points. It has been so amazing. It is like this new level of consciousness almost. Usually describe it to my friends as a new level of consciousness in the sense that some of the brain fog that I've had for years and years has definitely lifted, and I do not experience blood sugar crashes. I can function throughout the whole day. And the thing is that what got me on this path was learning about metabolic dysfunction. And the insane fact is that, according to research, 93% of Americans have metabolic dysfunction. And if you have metabolic dysfunction, then you can't really be healthy. And the extent to which that I have experienced metabolic dysfunction was, I investigated it, and it's like the insulin carbohydrate model that believes that when we eat a lot of carbs, then we have obviously an insulin response, and that insulin response is responsible for us gaining weight. So, in theory, you can eat as many calories as you want, but without an insulin spike, you wouldn't actually not gain weight. So my focus in this has been to lower my insulin, to combat insulin resistance. And it's also so interesting because now we're talking about insulin resistance in the brain actually being the cause of Alzheimer's, and we do not, that's definitely do not want that. And for me, that made an alarm bell ring because I was pretty desperate to get my brain to work better again. Because if our brains don't work well, then we can't really carpe diem and we can't really have that best life that we want. And I was concerned about my brain. Then I learned from Elena Gross, who speaks about migraine. She talks about insulin resistance in the brain also. In regards to migraine, she explains that people who get migraines, they have 20% less ATP in the brain even between attacks, and likely it is a lot lower during attacks. And ATP is adenosine triphosphate, which I usually describe as the energy of life. If we do not produce enough ATP, then our cells do not have energy, and eventually we will actually die if we do not produce sufficient ATP. So to have a level of ATP in the brain that is 20% lower, but even between attacks, it actually means a lot, and that is just not doable. You can't really do your best life that way. And that was why I was so adamant to explore this. I had a conversation with my hairdresser. You always get great advice with hairdressers, right? But she had this very special, very rare type of diabetes, and it's like a genetic thing that is a lot more rare than diabetes 1. And she talked to me, she explained how she was doing so much better when she went on a very strict keto diet. And that just came at the most magical moment because I'd been revving up to it for quite a while. Beginning in August, my husband and I decided that we would stop eating candy, and I have basically been a sugar addict my entire life. So that was a huge deal to actually agree on that. And I did go all the way from the 3rd of August until I started keto, not eating any candy. since I've started keto, I've actually eaten 22 grams of chocolate. I have it all down to the gram. And that was a very specific type of chocolate because there are only 30 grams of carbs per 100 grams. And usually chocolate, it is a lot more. Generally around 50% of it is sugar. And I was raised on carbs, so going full on keto in the version that I have now um, has been quite counterintuitive to me. I was I was born in 1980. I was raised on carbs. When I turned 5, my mother banished butter from the house, and it was just all carbs. Eat carbs, and when you eat a lot of carbs, I was never like really healthy as a child. On surface, I was healthy. I looked healthy. I was very lean, but I always had stomach aches. At least from the age of around 5 or 6, I always had stomach aches. And then beginning at around 10, I got headaches. At around 12 or 13, I got migraines. And what is so interesting about Elena Gross's research is this idea that migraine is a metabolic disease, that it is an alarm system. It is a sign, migraine is a sign that we are not getting enough energy to keep our brains running. And truly, if our brains are not running well, then we can't live the life that we want to live. It is beyond important for our brains to function well. And that is why I want to throw this out here, that literally I've had no headaches, no migraine, no keto flu, no stomach aches, basically no problems. I've just been feeling so good in comparison to how I usually feel. And it is true that my migraines had like improved over the years and had not were not as frequent anymore, but I could still have literally days at a time where I was completely out of commission. And that's just not acceptable. And what I've done is that I think I've adopted a very easy version of keto. People want to tell you that keto is hard and that is really restrictive, and it definitely can be. In the case of the hairdresser I talked to, when she says she ate under 20 grams of carbs per day, that is very little carbs, because I also want to get a lot of fiber. And I've been leaning, I've basically tracked everything. I've measured everything down to the gram, and I have been between 25 and 50 grams of carbs each day. And I've also allowed myself to do teeny tiny amounts of dirty keto. So I've not even banished sugar completely, but we are not talking about eating 20 grams of sugar and then some vegetables to make up for the rest of the carbs. We're literally talking 4 grams of sugar in my sweet chili sauce to go with my chicken, which is like a vice of mine, chicken with sweet chili sauce. And I'm working on getting rid of that too, because I think that the more clean keto you do, the better you will feel. But I think that is perfectly fine for a transition period. As I said, I also have eaten a bit of chocolate. And like, when you start eating in this way, when it's similar to intermittent fasting, which I've also done a bit of, food will taste so much better because you're not stuffing yourself all the time. You're not getting the hunger signals all the time. That makes you eat a lot of highly processed foods, which will then in turn make you even hungrier. It means that you can enjoy your food more, which for me has meant that when I eat chocolate, then instead of eating 50 grams of chocolate or 100 grams of chocolate, which I could easily have done in the past, then it is okay for me to just eat around 10 grams of chocolate. Then I've had a bit of something. I've also had hot cocoa with whipped cream, but it is like teeniest, tiniest amounts. When I put in the cocoa in the milk, then I've put 3 grams of cocoa in there. And it's like, and it's also not a huge portion because then I have dialed down the amount of hot chocolate and dialed up the amount of whipped cream. Um, but it's very evident that it has actually given results already. In the first week, I dropped 2.5 kilos, which is roughly equivalent to 5 pounds, and I think that is pretty good actually. And in terms of my energy level, my transition into keto has coincided with me doing slightly less exercise because I did stumble backwards one day because I found a monster in my bedroom. That's not true. It was what is it called? Like the kind of butterfly. It's not really a butterfly, but the kind of butterfly-y thing that is very dark, and it flopped towards my face, and I didn't know what it was, so I stumbled backwards, and let me just say, I could feel my left knee, and I was in a period of exercise where I was already trying to scale back. I have developed a new exercise routine that I absolutely love, and I call it my dance parties. And every one of my friends they're just laughing because I am not a huge dancer, but it's about basically movement to music, and it's so much fun and I love it so much. And I have done 21 minutes of it almost every day, like 2 out of 3 days sometimes, since the beginning of August. And it's been so much fun. And I'm like a racehorse jumping to get out of the gate to do it. And I've told myself, no, you can't do it at the moment because your knee is going to be upset. So right now I'm doing indoor cycling. And it's fine, and I love that as well, but it's just not the same as a dance party. You get it. It's just not the same. And it's so I haven't tested really, really tough exercise out with keto. A lot of people say you will see a dip in your exercise performance at the beginning. And what I did before was doing roughly 41 minutes of exercise, so the 21-minute dance parties, and then 2 blocks of indoor cycling, and then lots and lots of walking. I have a couple of girlfriends that I go walking with every week. And I would have expected it to be very difficult. And if I'd known it would be this easy, I would have started a long, long time ago. So it just say to you that if you are exploring brain fog, if you do have some overweight you want to get rid of to get healthier, I'm sleeping better, I'm functioning better, I think my mood is better, I'm generally in a pretty happy mood, I think, a lot of the time. And like, I love the world, I love life, but it's like boom, it's just even more, it's just even better. And I seriously I woke up this morning thinking, basically chanting, it's gonna be a good day, it's gonna be a good day, it's gonna be a good day. So like completely over the top crazy happy. And that is pretty good. I think that is a pretty good measure and a pretty good baseline from which to start our carpe lifestyle. And I want you to have that life as well. And if you find it by doing a vegan diet, that's great. I was vegan for years and years, and it ended up being a really bad thing for me. So now I'm chicken all the way. And I just love that. But what I want you to do is to not necessarily do exactly what I'm doing, but I would like to invite you to go on this 75-day health journey with me. And as I've said, I'm on day 10. It's not too late to start. You can even make it a 65-day challenge from today. You can also follow along on Instagram. My name on Instagram is just Carpe. And I would love to see you there. It's easier if we do it together. It's easier to live great lives together. So until next time.